China's population time bomb, why millions of Chinese youth are saying no to marriage and children in 2025. Chinese aunties gone wild, dancing, yelling, and disrupting public spaces nationwide. Mass exodus from Shanghai shocks the world. Is China's global hub breaking down? The marriage rate in mainland China continues to remain low, despite local governments introducing various policies to encourage marriage. However, high unemployment and other factors have led many young people to adopt a pessimistic outlook on both the future and the idea of marriage. If nothing unexpected happens, I will be the last generation of my family. I don't have a wife or children, so there will never be another poor person in my family. A bachelor remains a bachelor. Instead of spending substantial amounts of money on marriage and raising children, only to work tirelessly throughout life, some young people choose to remain single and lead a more carefree lifestyle. By avoiding mortgages, car loans, and the pressure to continue the family line, they can live comfortably on a modest monthly income of 2,000 to 3,000 yuan. Recently, a video circulating online captured a striking red banner displayed at the entrance of a village pavilion. The banner read, "You are not allowed to enter the village if you don't bring your girlfriend back." This sparked widespread criticism, with many viewing it as a subtle form of marriage pressure. One person commented, "It's unfortunate to encounter a village like this. Finding a spouse is already difficult, and now they can't even go home without one." Such practices are not uncommon. For example, in Songtang Village, Siqiao Town, Nanhai District, Foshan City, Guangdong Province, a similar banner was spotted, indicating the persistence of this social phenomenon. This illustrates the tension between traditional expectations and the evolving attitudes of young people toward relationships and family. Amid China's ongoing economic downturn, an increasing number of young people are choosing not to marry. They perceive marriage, child rearing, and taking on loans for housing and cars as burdens and future financial liabilities. Nowadays, more people are reluctant to get married, and this trend is growing. Do you understand the deeper reason behind this unwillingness to marry? It's simple. Young people see no hope for the future. It's as straightforward as that. There's just no hope. Historically, baby booms often follow wars. Despite the loss of life, a surge in births usually occurs because once the chaos has ended, people believe the upcoming period will bring peace and stability, something they can look forward to. According to recent data, just 3.43 million couples registered for marriage in mainland China during the first half of 2024, the lowest figure since 1986. With China's demographic dividend dwindling, the government now actively encourages childbearing. However, some social commentators argue that this approach is fundamentally flawed. One blogger offered an analysis of the reasons behind young people's growing reluctance to marry. Why are young people today reluctant to marry or have children? I once heard a college professor explain this in a way that made perfect sense. The first reason is the uncertainty surrounding the future. When faced with an unpredictable tomorrow, many feel they cannot take on such a heavy responsibility. It's like wanting to climb a mountain without knowing if you'll reach the top. How can you carry a 100-pound load on your back? For our parents' generation, this sense of uncertainty didn't exist. Most people had stable, albeit modest, incomes. Even if they were poor in a predictable way. They could be sure of buying a color TV in 3 years or a camera in 4. But for our generation, no matter how much money we have, we hesitate to spend it because we have no idea what our lives will look like next year. This overwhelming uncertainty makes it difficult to take on the burden of marriage and family. The second reason is that young people today have a clear understanding of life's purpose. They prioritize happiness. According to the blogger, most young people first ask themselves whether they are happy before considering whether to continue the family line. The third reason is the fear of being unable to ensure a good upbringing for their children. This goes beyond just providing for their material needs. It also means being responsible for their education and overall development. Today, many understand the pressures of parenting long before they even consider marriage. It's not simply about adding another place at the dinner table. In our parents' generation, having more children wasn't a major concern. Hand-me-down clothes were common, and the eldest child's belongings were passed down to the younger ones. But that approach simply doesn't work anymore because young people today feel they cannot responsibly provide for their children. China's marriage rate has been in decline for 9 consecutive years, according to the China Population and Employment Statistical Yearbook 2023. Data from a sampling survey showed that in 2022, the unmarried rate among people aged 25 to 29 reached 51%, while for those aged 30 to 34, it was 18%. At one point, the headline, "Unmarried Rate in the 25 to 29 Age Group Exceeds 50%, trended on Weibo with over 200 million views. Many working women are delaying or choosing not to marry and have children to avoid gender discrimination and unequal treatment in the workplace. This blogger, 28 years old and working in Guangzhou, recently lost her job. She shared that one of the most common questions she faces during interviews is, "I've updated my resume but haven't even submitted it yet, and I'm already anxious at the thought of being questioned by HR." For women over 25, interviewers always ask, "Do you have children? Are you married? Do you have a boyfriend?" I don't see how this relates to my ability to work. I always tell them I'm not interested in marriage, and I have no plans to get married. The moment I see their satisfied smiles, I know I've secured the job. This same blogger was eventually laid off, and she explained that at 32, she is no longer considered desirable in Shenzhen's job market. I was laid off. Yes, I was 31 when it happened last year. At 32, finding a job has become incredibly difficult. But what shocked me was that they replaced me with someone else at half my salary. I can understand the company's decision. After all, being 32 is considered old in Shenzhen's job market, where the average age is just 28. Such workplace challenges highlight how economic and social pressures intertwine, shaping young people's decisions about marriage and family. Blogger Li Desheng, 33 years old, remains unmarried and without children. She shared that while she used to actively participate in blind dates, over time, she lost hope in finding a suitable partner. "I used to go on blind dates regularly, often accompanied by my single female friends. But based on my experience, I've drawn some conclusions. The men around our age are often either overly attached to their mothers, extremely frugal, or lack physical attractiveness. They tend to be short, overweight, or possess other noticeable shortcomings that outweigh their positive traits. It's not that we don't want to get married. It's that we have no choice but to accept this reality." The term Chinese aunties was originally neutral. However, in recent years, it has taken on a negative connotation due to middle-aged women dancing loudly and behaving disruptively in public spaces. Today, we explore this controversial phenomenon. Videos recently circulated online showing several middle-aged women dancing square dance in the lounge of Chongqing Jiangbei International Airport on October 3rd. Their loud music disturbed other passengers trying to rest. Some airport staff attempted to intervene, but the women ignored them and continued dancing. The airport later responded, explaining it could not stop the activity immediately because its staff lack law enforcement authority. This shows the challenge of managing public behavior when enforcement authority is limited. One netizen commented, "Chinese aunties occupy public spaces wherever they go, forcing others to watch their Cultural Revolution-style dances." Another wrote, "The airport says it has no law enforcement powers. When has the Communist Party ever enforced the law? If all the aunties danced in kimonos, do you think they'd take any action?" The aunties' behavior isn't confined to airports. They also appear on high-speed trains. One netizen shared a video showing a group of middle-aged women dancing exuberantly aboard a high-speed train. From the footage, the train carriage is crowded with elderly passengers. They are singing and dancing joyfully, completely ignoring those around them. The person filming said that when he first heard the music, he found it somewhat amusing, but as more people gathered and the speakers were plugged in, the atmosphere grew disruptive. He thought that if the speaker ran out of battery, the dancing might stop. Unexpectedly, the group charged their speakers and continued singing and dancing from day into night. Many even took out their phones to take photos, showing little regard for public order. In another incident, a middle-aged woman behaved aggressively toward younger passengers on a high-speed train and was eventually removed by train police. To save money, this woman bought a standing ticket. Once on board, finding it tiring to stand, she forcibly took another passenger's seat and made excuses, questioning why standing for half an hour was such a problem. She claimed that young people needed education and accused them of disrespecting their elders, a completely unacceptable attitude. Despite kind requests from the conductor and train manager, she refused to cooperate or present any documents. Ultimately, the train police intervened, removed her from the train, and blacklisted her, barring her from future rail travel. This highlights tensions between respecting rules and asserting personal entitlement in public spaces. A netizen once posted a video on a social platform showing a middle-aged couple eating with an electric rice cooker aboard a high-speed train, which quickly attracted widespread attention and sparked heated online discussion. The video captures an elderly woman placing the rice cooker on the small table in front of her, holding a disposable clear bowl in one hand and a rice ladle in the other. She serves rice while chatting with the man next to her, presumably her husband. Passengers seated behind them appear to catch the smell of the food and stand up to watch. Observing this, other passengers also take out their phones to record the scene. There is nothing inherently wrong with the auntie enjoying her meal on the train. However, some middle-aged women, especially when they hold a bit of authority, have been known to bully more vulnerable groups. For example, on September 18th last month, in Taiyuan, Shanghai province, an elderly woman wearing a red armband prevented a disabled person from setting up a stall, loudly asserting, "This is my territory and I have the final say." Police arrived on the scene and persuaded her to leave. "Where did you get your red armband?" "It's mine. I don't allow him to sell here. Let him leave." "It's okay. Even if it's your relatives or friends or even your parents, selling here is not allowed. Let us handle it. Let him leave now. We won't let him occupy even an inch of our land. Move. This is my territory. I have the final say. Disabled or not, just go away." Judging from their age, many individuals born in the 1950s and 1960s experienced looting and destruction during their youth. They went through the Cultural Revolution at a critical stage in the formation of their worldview. Under the indoctrination of the Chinese Communist Party, many of these people lost their faith and engaged in group fights and lawless behavior during the armed struggles of that era. Even today, these uncles and aunts remain aggressive over trivial daily matters. While society often criticizes them for lacking morals and poor conduct, they are, in reality, products of a tragic era shaped by the CCP system. Back then, the Red Guards danced the loyalty dance, and today, Chinese aunties are known for their square dancing. In recent years, the noise caused by square dancing has disturbed local residents, frequently leading to conflicts. One such incident was captured on video on the evening of April 16th last year, in a street park near a river. A man dressed in white argued with an elderly woman dancing in the square. The man threatened to throw the woman's speaker into the river. The old lady responded defiantly, "Go ahead and throw it. If you don't, you're not a human being." Enraged, the man grabbed the black speaker, walked to the riverside guardrail, and threw it into the water in full view of bystanders. "If you don't lose face, you are not a human being." "If you say that, I'll throw it away." An insider told reporters that the man lived nearby and had repeatedly complained about the loud volume of the auntie's speakers. That day, after drinking some wine, he lost his temper and threw the speaker into the river. Following police mediation, the man compensated the woman for the speaker, which cost over 2,000 yuan. This case reflects the conflict between personal freedom and community tolerance. The aunties demonstrate little regard for public morality. They believe turning up the volume is their right, but this so-called freedom is actually a form of tyranny. True freedom means not disturbing others or acting without restraint. At another tourist site, a group of middle-aged women dancing in the square nearly faced a dangerous situation. At the Shanggugu Glass Bridge scenic area in Hangzhou, Zhejiang Province, a group of middle-aged tourists engaged in square dancing on the glass bridge on June 7th, 2020. The video shows the glass bridge visibly shaking as the aunties jumped with enthusiasm. A security guard at the scene rushed over, warning, "Don't jump, the bridge is going to break." Despite the warning, the women continued jumping until staff intervention finally persuaded them to stop. Staff member Mr. Ma said, "It appeared to be a tour group organized by a travel agency. After they stepped onto the bridge, they spontaneously began some kind of dance. Our staff quickly moved to stop them. We have clear safety instructions and regulations, such as no high heels allowed on the glass bridge, shoe covers must be worn, and bringing tea trays is prohibited." Fortunately, we intervened in time. Chinese aunties are well known, not only domestically, but also internationally, for such behavior. We frequently hear reports of Chinese travelers causing issues at customs with contraband. In one such incident, a Chinese woman with short hair was detained by Australian customs officers. The officers repeatedly asked if she fully understood the declaration form and if she had anything to declare, but the woman insisted she did not. After obtaining permission to inspect her luggage, customs officers found an awkward situation. The first item discovered was a plastic bag containing dates with pits inside. Since date pits are considered seeds, they are prohibited from being brought into Australia. Further inspection revealed a red plastic bag containing millet, and frustratingly, a large piece of moldy ginger was also found. One customs officer speculated that the woman might be a first-time visitor to Australia and wondered if leniency was appropriate. However, upon checking her passport, they discovered that she had entered and exited Australia multiple times. As a result, she faced a fine for violating customs regulations. Shanghai is China's most important economic center and one of the largest cities in Asia. It is often called China's New York and has a population of approximately 25 million. As an international metropolis, foreigners can often be seen in Shanghai, but now there are fewer and fewer foreigners. This video captures a conversation between two friends discussing the noticeable decrease of foreigners in Shanghai. What about foreigners? Are there many foreigners here now? There aren't many foreigners left. Have many foreigners returned to their home countries? I'm not sure if they went back home or where they went, but I don't see foreigners on the streets anymore. They used to be everywhere, but now they're scarce. There might be a few in the city, but in the suburbs, they're nearly invisible. Yeah. The footage then shows Shanghai's Foreigners Street, once vibrant and bustling, now eerily deserted. Foreigners Street used to be brightly lit and crowded, but now all the foreigners are gone. On a weekend night, there's not a single foreigner in sight. This decline highlights not only travel restrictions, but also a shift in Shanghai's role as an international hub amid global economic changes and pandemic-related challenges. The man added that while standing outside the train station, he noticed most of the departing individuals were young people born in the 1980s and 1990s. When asked about the reasons behind this exodus, one explanation pointed to a large withdrawal of foreign capital and the closure of local factories in Shanghai, which resulted in widespread job losses. The Shanghai factory owner expressed deep despair. If the market situation continues like this, within 2 days, all of my processing plants, more than 10 in total, will shut down completely, and there will be no work left to do. Currently, there are 217,000 pieces in stock at the warehouse already processed, but not including those still in production. I don't know how others are faring, but if this keeps up, all of my factories will close. There is no future at all. Factory shutdowns signal deep structural issues in Shanghai's economy with ripple effects on employment and the city's overall vitality. A blogger discussed the reasons behind the mass departure from Shanghai and revealed a staggering fact. 2 to 3 million people have left the city. I was chatting with a few friends in Shanghai today. I believe about 2 to 3 million people have left Shanghai over the past 2 or 3 years. Why did these friends leave? He explained that many had to return to their hometowns due to job losses. Even Shanghai's wealthy residents have started to leave. One woman exclaimed, "Is the situation in Shanghai going to change?" Many foreign-funded enterprises have left, and even wealthy residents are selling their homes to cash out and flee the city. I have been purchasing houses in Shanghai with full payment for years, but this is the first time I've encountered such a situation. She noted a surge in mortgage properties this year and questioned if there was an underlying shift. Are there any major developments? Also, the down payment interest rates in the real estate market have been steadily declining recently. Could this mean some had advanced knowledge? Is the evacuation of Shanghai already underway? This blogger observed similar trends. Landlords in Shanghai are genuinely panicking and beginning to flee. Many people, especially migrants from other regions, are selling their Shanghai properties and buying elsewhere. This has become a widespread choice. This time when I came to Shanghai, I immediately noticed how depressed the city seemed. Shopping malls were nearly empty, and many factories were shuttered. Even the airport looked deserted, with very few people around. A netizen lamented that present-day Shanghai is incomparable to the bustling metropolis it once was. Upon investigation, he found that Shanghai has experienced a net population outflow in recent years. A man visiting a newly opened shopping mall in Shanghai found the crowds sparse. This is a common phenomenon in shopping malls across China nowadays. They are empty. Here's the first floor, and this is the basement level. This is the general state of shopping malls. Subway stations in Shanghai, once difficult to find parking near, are now truly deserted. This is not an exaggeration. In the past, we couldn't even get a shop here, even if we paid a transfer fee of 300,000 yuan. A woman added that commercial streets around subway stations are almost deserted, and even small vendors cannot sustain their businesses. This is Shanghai, China's first-tier city. She remarked that business in physical stores is exceptionally difficult this year. Moreover, many people born in the 1980s, around her age, and working nearby, have been laid off. How dire is Shanghai's situation this year? Nearly 5 million people from other regions have left. Shanghai once had a permanent population of 26 million. Now the permanent population is only about 20 million. As Shanghai grapples with factory closures, declining business, and a shrinking population, the future of this once thriving metropolis hangs in the balance. Whether the city can recover from this downturn remains to be seen, but the scale of the current outflow signals serious challenges ahead.